The House of Saud is the richest royal family in history, controlling a staggering $1.4 trillion, 16 times the wealth of the British monarchy. They live in palaces the size of cities, own flying palaces worth hundreds of millions, and collect record-breaking art like Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi. But their power comes with secrets, scandals, and ambitions that go far beyond oil. Stay until the end. You won't believe their next move. From desert tribes to trillion-dollar power. Less than a century ago, the Arabian Peninsula was one of the harshest, poorest regions on Earth. Endless stretches of desert, scattered tribes surviving on trade routes and oases, and a kingdom with little influence beyond its borders. The House of Saud ruled over this vast but barren land, holding power through alliances and tribal loyalty rather than wealth. But in 1938, everything changed. Deep beneath the sands of Dharan, American geologists discovered what would become the largest crude oil reserves in the world. This single event transformed the fate of an entire nation. With the help of US companies like Standard Oil of California, the Saudis founded what would eventually become Saudi Aramco, now the most profitable company on the planet. Overnight, the family shifted from desert rulers to global power players, holding the keys to the resource that fueled the 20th century: oil. By the 1970s, after full nationalization of Aramco, the House of Saud controlled the heart of the global energy supply. Oil tankers leaving Ras Tanura didn't just bring wealth, they brought influence over economies as far away as Washington, London, and Tokyo. Every price fluctuation, every production cut, every policy shift reverberated across the entire world. The numbers are staggering. Saudi Aramco generates annual revenues exceeding $600 billion, and the royal family's collective fortune is estimated at $1.4 trillion, 16 times the wealth of the British monarchy. That fortune built sprawling palaces with gold-plated furniture, a fleet of custom Boeing 747s, and super yachts like the $458 million Serene. It financed billion-dollar art purchases, like Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, for $450.3 million, and created one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds, the Public Investment Fund, PIFF, now worth over $700 billion. But the rise of the House of Saud wasn't just about money. It reshaped global politics. They went from a little-known royal family to the gatekeepers of oil, influencing superpowers and shaping wars, alliances, and economies. What started as a tribal kingdom became a trillion-dollar dynasty that could shift the balance of the world with a single decision. And with this unimaginable wealth came an equally unimaginable lifestyle, one that turned the word luxury into an understatement. Comment "From sand to power" if you believe one discovery can rewrite history. And keep watching, because the next chapter reveals palaces so extravagant they resemble entire cities. Palaces the size of private cities. On the surface, the House of Saud's palaces are homes, but in reality, they are entire worlds of their own, so vast and extravagant they feel more like private cities than residences. The most famous is Ali Yamama Palace in Riyadh, an enormous complex that spans millions of square feet. It contains more than 1,000 rooms, including banquet halls large enough to host entire royal weddings, diplomatic conferences, and gala dinners, all under one roof. The interiors redefine the meaning of luxury. Marble sourced from Carrara, chandeliers custom-made in Paris, and walls lined with silk from Italy. Gold isn't an accent, it's a theme. Entire corridors glisten with gold-plated details, from the door handles to the furniture legs. High-spended European designers like Versace Home and Hermès crafted bespoke pieces specifically for these palaces. Private cinemas, Olympic-sized swimming pools, indoor gardens that bloom year-round despite the desert heat. Every detail feels designed to outdo anything the world has ever seen. Even Buckingham Palace pales in comparison. While the British royal residence has around 775 rooms, Ali Yamama surpasses it effortlessly, not only in size, but in opulence. Buckingham has historic charm. The Saud palaces are unapologetically modern in scale and grandeur, blending traditional Arabian artistry with the latest technology. Inside the royal family's living quarters, you'll find advanced security systems, hidden tunnels for discreet movement, and entire wings designed solely for international guests, heads of state, dignitaries, and VIP investors. And Ali Yamama isn't the only one. There's also Al Salam Palace, Al Huda Palace, and the sprawling seaside compounds along the Red Sea coast. Each palace is designed with a specific purpose. One for state affairs, one for private retreats, one purely for entertaining foreign guests. Together, they are not just symbols of wealth, they're instruments of soft power. When global leaders are invited to a dinner where every plate is fine Limoges porcelain and every ceiling glitters with Swarovski crystal, the message is clear. This is a dynasty whose resources have no limit. But for the House of Saudi, their power isn't confined to palaces on the ground. Because while their homes dominate the desert, they've also taken luxury to the skies, building flying palaces that redefine what it means to travel like royalty. Flying palaces and private jet fleets. For most royals, a private jet is a luxury. For the House of Saud, it's an airborne kingdom. Their fleet isn't a handful of Gulfstreams or bombardiers, it's a collection that rivals a commercial airline. At its heart is the Boeing 747 Flying Palace, a jet valued at nearly $500 million after its extraordinary customization. From the outside, it looks like a standard jumbo jet. Inside, it's a palace in the clouds. Step beyond the jet bridge and you enter a world lined with gold-trimmed walls, silk carpets imported from Turkey, and handcrafted Italian leather seating. There's a private spa, a marble-limbed shower suite, and even a conference room large enough for a dozen advisors and ministers to discuss billion-dollar oil deals while cruising at 40,000 feet. The master suite rivals the penthouse of a Ritz-Carlton, complete with a king-size bed draped in fret linens and a private lounge for exclusive guests. This 747 isn't alone. The family also operates Airbus A340S, Boeing 777S, and an entire fleet of smaller jets on standby to transport hundreds of royals, advisors, and security teams to wherever they're needed. In total, the Saudi Royal Aviation Wing manages over 30 private aircraft, each tailored for a specific purpose. One might be designed for family leisure trips to Europe, another for diplomatic missions to Washington or Paris, and another solely for Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's use. But these planes are more than just a way to travel in style. They're airborne strategy rooms, flying offices that allow the royal family to conduct state business without interruption. Deals with energy ministers, meetings with global CEOs, and even discreet negotiations with political leaders have taken place thousands of feet above the ground. And of course, the logistics of this operation are staggering. Dedicated staff maintain the fleet full-time, ensuring every aircraft remains ready at a moment's notice. Private hangars the size of small airports house these flying palaces, and fuel costs for a single intercontinental journey can easily exceed $500,000. Yet for the House of Saud, the skies are just one layer of their extraordinary mobility. Because when their planes touch down, the next level of luxury awaits. Not on land, but on the sea, where super yachts redefine what it means to live like royalty. Super yachts and record-breaking art. When their feet aren't on desert sands or palace marble floors, the House of Saud takes luxury to the sea. The most famous example is the Serene, a super yacht owned by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, valued at an astonishing $458 million. At over 440 feet long, it isn't just a yacht, it's a floating city. The Serene has two helipads, one at the bow and another at the stern, allowing VIP guests and advisors to arrive without ever setting foot on a dock. Inside, there are multiple swimming pools, a spa complex, a grand dining hall lined with baccarat crystal chandeliers, and even a snow room where guests can experience winter in the middle of the Arabian summer. Hidden beneath the yacht's polished exterior lies a submarine garage, giving the prince private access to the ocean depths. It's the kind of vessel that makes the $300 million yachts of tech billionaires look modest by comparison. But the House of Saud doesn't stop at owning floating palaces. They've also turned their wealth into cultural power. In 2017, the royal family shocked the art world by purchasing Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi for $450.3 million, making it the most expensive painting ever sold. The acquisition wasn't just about owning a masterpiece. It was a calculated statement. By claiming a work of Western cultural heritage, the family positioned themselves as global tastemakers, signaling that Saudi wealth could buy more than oil fields and real estate. It could buy history itself. This combination of super yachts and priceless art serves a purpose beyond personal enjoyment. These are tools of influence, ways to entertain global leaders, forge alliances, and subtly project dominance. Hosting a private meeting aboard the Serene or unveiling a Da Vinci at a royal gala sends a message that wealth here isn't just massive, it's limitless. But what makes the House of Saud's power truly unrivaled is how they extend this influence far beyond luxury assets. Because while they sail the seas on billion-dollar yachts, they're also buying stakes in the very companies that shape the global economy. Comment cultural power if you believe art and luxury can become tools of influence, and keep watching because the next chapter reveals how their investments reach deep into the world's biggest markets. Global investments in soft power. Beyond palaces, private jets and super yachts, the House of Saud wields another kind of power, one that extends far beyond the borders of Saudi Arabia. It's the power to shape industries, influence global narratives, and quietly buy stakes in the companies that define modern life. At the center of this strategy is the Public Investment Fund, PIIF, one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. Valued at over $700 billion, the PIF isn't just a savings account for oil profits, it's a war chest for influence. Through it, the Saudis have taken major stakes in companies like Uber, Disney, and even tech giants in Silicon Valley. Each investment isn't just about financial return, it's about embedding Saudi interests into the global economy itself. This soft power extends into entertainment and sports. In 2021, the PIF acquired Newcastle United Football Club in the English Premier League, instantly transforming a mid-tier team into one of the richest clubs in Europe. Billions are now being funneled into new players, stadium upgrades, and branding campaigns that have turned Newcastle into a global symbol of Saudi ambition. At the same time, they launched the Live Golf Tour, luring some of the world's top golfers away from the PGA with staggering payouts. The message was clear: Saudi Arabia doesn't just participate in global culture, it rewrites it. But the investments don't stop with sports or tech. The PIF has poured billions into tourism projects, luxury hospitality, and futuristic urban development, positioning the kingdom as a global hub for leisure and innovation. And behind these moves is a calculated effort to diversify the economy beyond oil, using the wealth of the past to secure influence over the industries of the future. This network of investments gives the House of Saud an unparalleled reach. When you take a ride in an Uber, stream content from Disney, or follow Premier League football, you're indirectly touching an empire that started with a single oil well in the desert. Yet for all the influence these investments bring, they also mask a darker truth, one that continues to spark international criticism and conflict. Because behind the polished image of billion-dollar deals and glamorous sports events, there are controversies that no amount of money can fully erase. Controversies and global criticism. For all its wealth and global reach, the House of Saud has also faced complex challenges that go far beyond luxury palaces and billion-dollar investments. Behind the polished image of mega projects and royal ceremonies, there are moments that have drawn international attention and debate. One of the most significant issues involves regional conflicts that have affected millions of people. The kingdom's role in neighboring tensions has sparked discussions among humanitarian groups and policy analysts, especially when advanced military equipment and billion-dollar contracts from global defense companies became part of the equation. These situations have raised questions about the balance between regional security, political alliances, and the human cost of maintaining influence. Another moment that captured the world's focus was the case of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. While details remain the subject of international reports and diplomatic discussions, the incident highlighted the complexities of governance, freedom of expression, and the relationship between state power and media. Despite global headlines, the economic and strategic partnerships between Saudi Arabia and major world powers largely continued, showing just how deeply the kingdom is integrated into global markets. Within the kingdom, modernization efforts coexist with a traditional governance structure that keeps a firm grip on media, public discourse, and political activism. Critics often cite this as a point of tension, while supporters argue that gradual reform is underway through initiatives aimed at improving the economy and social policies. At the same time, the House of Saud has taken deliberate steps to reshape its image on the world stage. Major investments in sports, entertainment, and tourism, such as the acquisition of Newcastle United Football Club and the creation of the Live Golf Tour, are part of a broader effort to diversify the economy and promote a new narrative of Saudi Arabia as a hub for culture, innovation, and leisure. These efforts illustrate the duality of the dynasty, a family managing vast wealth and influence while navigating global scrutiny and domestic transformation. But even the most enduring oil fortune cannot last forever. And that's why the royal family is already building something beyond oil, a future designed to redefine Saudi Arabia's place in the 21st century, and it's far more ambitious than anyone imagined. Vision 2030, building the future beyond oil. The House of Saud understands better than anyone that oil wealth, no matter how vast, cannot last forever. Global energy markets are shifting, renewable technologies are rising, and the world is preparing for a post-oil future. To remain a dominant power, the family is already building the next chapter of Saudi Arabia's story, one that goes beyond crude reserves and redefines the kingdom's place in the modern world. At the heart of this transformation is Vision 2030, a sweeping plan led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The goal is clear: diversify the economy and reposition Saudi Arabia as a global hub for innovation, tourism, and culture. One of the most ambitious projects within this plan is NEOM, a futuristic city being built on the Red Sea coast with a projected cost of $500 billion. NEOM isn't just another development. It's designed as a living experiment in advanced technology. The centerpiece, called The Line, is a proposed 170-kilometer-long linear city where there are no cars, no traditional roads, and zero carbon emissions. Residents will move seamlessly, using AI-driven transport systems. Inside NEOM, there are plans for luxury resorts, cutting-edge research centers, and entertainment districts designed to rival Dubai, Singapore, and even Silicon Valley. Beyond NEOM, Vision 2030 includes massive tourism initiatives like the Red Sea Project, a chain of ultra-luxury resorts spread across pristine islands. High-Sember brands such as Aman Resorts and Six Senses are already involved, promising experiences tailored to the world's wealthiest travelers. There are plans for premium entertainment complexes, cultural museums, and sporting events designed to attract a global audience and reshape the kingdom's image. But Vision 2030 isn't only about leisure. It's also a strategic move to capture new industries: technology, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing. Billions from the Public Investment Fund are being funneled into global tech companies, green hydrogen projects, and space exploration ventures. In many ways, the House of Saud is using the oil fortune of yesterday to buy a seat at the table of tomorrow's industries. This vision is ambitious, futuristic, and unlike anything the Middle East has attempted before. But even with $500 billion behind it, the question remains: can Vision 2030 truly secure the kingdom's future and protect the dynasty's power in a world that's rapidly leaving oil behind? The Saud legacy and the next chapter of power. For nearly a century, the House of Saud has balanced oil wealth, extravagant luxury, and global investments to remain one of the most powerful dynasties in history. Their fortune, estimated at $1.4 trillion, has created palaces like Ali Yamamah, furnished with Versace interiors and Baccarat chandeliers, and fleets of customized Boeing 747 flying palaces worth over $500 million. At sea, the $458 million superyacht Serene stands as a floating symbol of their reach, while in the art world, their acquisition of Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi for $450.3 million was a statement of cultural dominance. But their influence isn't just about grandeur. Through the Public Investment Fund, valued at $700 billion, they hold stakes in Uber, Disney, and sports empires like Newcastle United and the Live Golf Tour, embedding themselves in industries that shape daily life far beyond the Middle East. Yet, even this dynasty faces challenges. The world is moving toward renewable energy, geopolitical dynamics are shifting, and public scrutiny of extreme wealth grows louder. Vision 2030, anchored by the $500 billion NEOM megacity, is their bold answer to a post-oil era, aiming to transform Saudi Arabia into a hub for technology, tourism, and innovation. But the question lingers: can even a trillion-dollar empire reinvent itself fast enough to stay ahead of history? Comment dynasty or decline if you believe the House of Saud can hold their power into the next century. And stay tuned, because the next family we uncover hides secrets even more surprising. The Saud dynasty transformed a desert kingdom into one of the most powerful forces on Earth, using oil to build unimaginable wealth, influence, and a lifestyle beyond comprehension. From billion-dollar palaces to futuristic mega-projects like NEOM, Their ambition continues to shape the global economy. But their story is far from over, because the next phase of their power could redefine the 21st century. If you want more untold stories of the world's richest and most powerful families, subscribe to Billionaire's Story and watch our next video about a dynasty whose collapse was even more shocking.